I used the money we earmarked for our 6-month-old's college fund to buy back the exact 1972 Ford Bronco I owned as a teenager. My wife Emma found out when she saw the bank statement 3 days later. I was in the garage running my hands over the faded blue paint when she walked in holding our baby Zoe and the paper in her other hand. She didn't say a word at first, just stood there staring at me and then at the Bronco like she was trying to process what she was seeing. Finally, she asked how much I paid for it, and when I told her $18,000, she went completely white. That was supposed to be for Zoe's college, Emma said. Her voice was so quiet I almost didn't hear her over the radio I had playing. I turned to face her and tried to explain that I saw it listed on some guy's Facebook marketplace and knew I had to have it back. This was my first car, the one I bought with money from my summer job at the hardware store when I was 16, the one I took to prom and drove to my first job, and the one I stupidly sold when Emma got pregnant because we needed the money. She shifted Zoe to her other hip and asked if I was having some kind of breakdown. I told her I wasn't. I just saw it, and all these memories came flooding back of who I used to be before I became this guy who works 60-hour weeks at the insurance office and comes home too tired to do anything except watch Netflix and fall asleep on the couch. Emma asked if I remembered that we had exactly $22,000 saved for Zoe, and now we had $4,000 left. She asked if I remembered that we talked about this exact thing happening, and agreed we wouldn't touch that money no matter what. I said I remembered, but this was different. She asked how it was different. I couldn't really explain it except to say that when I saw the listing, something inside me just snapped. It was like seeing a piece of my old life that I could actually get back. Emma said she didn't understand how buying back an old truck was worth our daughter's future. That night she barely spoke to me during dinner. Zoe was fussing and Emma kept bouncing her while eating one-handed. I offered to help, but she just shook her head. After we put Zoe down, I tried to talk to her again. I told her we still had 18 years to save for college, and that maybe having the Bronco would actually help us save money since I wouldn't need to keep taking my Honda to the shop every few months. Emma looked at me like I had grown a second head. She said the Bronco probably needed even more work than my Honda, and that I was being completely ridiculous. She asked if I thought she was stupid. The next morning I was changing the oil on the Bronco when my neighbor Rick came over. He's about my age and has kids too. He looked the truck over and whistled, said it was a beauty and asked how much I paid. When I told him, he asked if my wife was okay with it. I said she was still adjusting to the idea. Rick laughed and said his wife would have probably set his stuff on fire if he did something like that. He asked if I was going through some kind of midlife thing. I told him I was only 32, and he said midlife crises start earlier now. That weekend I took the Bronco out for a real drive. Windows down, radio loud, just like I used to do in high school. For about an hour I felt like myself again, like the guy I was before mortgages and insurance policies and diaper changes. But then I started thinking about Emma at home with Zoe, and how she's been doing most of the night feedings because I've been so tired from work. When I got home, Emma was folding laundry in the living room. Zoe was sleeping in her bouncer nearby. Emma didn't look up when I walked in. I sat down next to her and asked if we could talk. She said she was listening. I told her I knew I messed up, that I should have talked to her first before buying the truck. She finally looked at me and said it wasn't just about not talking to her. It was about making a decision that affected our whole family without caring about what anyone else needed. She said she's been thinking about going back to work part-time when Zoe turns 1, but now she didn't know if we could afford the daycare. She said she felt like I chose some fantasy about my teenage years over our actual life. I asked her what she wanted me to do. She said she wanted me to sell it. I said I just got it back, and she said that was exactly the problem. She said I wasn't thinking about getting it forward, I was thinking about getting it back, like our life now wasn't good enough. 2 weeks later I listed the Bronco for sale. Got $16,000 for it, which was $2,000 less than I paid, but Emma said at least we had something back. I put the money back in Zoe's college fund and tried to pretend I was okay with it.